You mentioned that you have a 10-year-old girl who just seems angry all the time, and you feel like you need to walk on eggshells around her, and you're wondering if this is normal or not. And it is definitely normal for a 10-year-old to experience anger. They just may not know how to deal with that emotion properly. And sometimes, because they don't know how to deal with it, they act out. So if it's not affecting family relationships or friendships or their ability to perform at school, then it may just require a little bit of coaching at home and maybe some changes in parenting style. And this may affect a positive change. But if it's affecting relationships or her ability to perform at school, then there may be a deeper issue there. There are some things to consider, some possible underlying causes that you might be able to modify. If a child is overexposed to media or to screen time and electronics, it makes them more angry. And so if your child is using these things a lot, then I would scale back on that, and you're going to get resistance in the beginning. That goes without saying, and it'll probably get worse before it gets better. But it's important to control screen time and to make sure that your child is participating in other activities and being active and socializing with people face to face, having time with friends. These are all really important things, because if they're isolated and just on electronics all the time, it's going to affect their cognitive and social development. I also suggest just sitting down with her and talking with her on a daily basis. Maybe it's not going to be about her anger issues per se. Maybe in the beginning it can just be more about forming a connection with her on a daily basis and trying to pull positivity out of her rather than harping on her about negative all the time. Because sometimes we, as parents, we tend to see a concerning behavior and only talk about that and shine light on that instead of shining light on the child's positive behaviors. And positive reinforcement will do wonders. There's an old saying that if you treat someone the way you want them to be, they will rise to the occasion. And so as parents, that's always a good reminder, myself included, to use positive reinforcement, to point out things that you notice her doing that are good. Other forms of positive reinforcement might include like a point or token system. You can talk about your expectations with her and spell it out very clearly, what you expect and what the consequences are going to be if she doesn't meet those expectations. Make them natural consequences and make them fit the offense, meaning if it's a mild offense, it should be a mild consequence. If it's a severe offense, it should be a more severe consequence. And the consequences that are going to be mild, moderate, and severe can only be determined by you, because you know what's going to affect her most. For example, taking away a child's screen time could be the most severe consequence for a choice, but it may also be a necessary thing, again, if you feel like your child's overexposed to social media and to electronics. So in that sense, you wouldn't want to use it as a consequence. It would be an expectation. So hopefully that helps you see the difference. As part of this token reward system, you can set up like a point system. So for certain behaviors, there aren't just negative consequences, there's positive consequences. And once she earns a certain number of tokens or points, then she can trade it in for certain rewards that are good motivation for her. And sometimes this just has to be used in the short term in order to change a child's behavior until it becomes something that they do daily, not something they have to think so much about. Another thing to consider is your parenting style and that of your partners if dad's also at home. Because as children often model our behavior, and if aggression or anger is modeled frequently in the home by parents, then children are going to adopt that behavior. And so if we use soft tones and kind words, and if we're level-headed and try to be proactive instead of reactive in situations, then our children are more likely to do the same. And it sounds kind of obvious, but another suggestion I have for you is just to sit down with her and talk to her about issues that she might be facing or thinking about. Maybe she's having issues at school that you weren't aware of, or having issues with friends, or feeling a little neglected at home. Whatever the case may be, if you can talk to her about what she's experiencing, then maybe there's things that you can address and help her cope with. You can give her proper coping strategies. Give her problem-solving skills so that she can work through it on her own rather than just acting out in anger or by being aggressive when she doesn't get what she wants or experiences these emotions that she doesn't quite know how to deal with. It's also really important for your partner or her father, if he's involved, to be on the same page about discipline. And so going back to square one, I suggest talking with them about that if they're involved, getting on the same page, developing a game plan, talking with her about it, and making sure that you're both consistent at all times and in all situations, because kids are really good at honing in on our inconsistencies. And when we're not consistent in how we discipline our children, they take advantage of that, and it rarely changes behavior when we're inconsistent in our discipline. If you've tried all of these things and it doesn't seem to be making a difference, then I suggest talking with your pediatrician about it. Sometimes there are issues that run even deeper than these that I've discussed today, and the pediatrician can determine if further investigation or intervention is warranted. Sometimes that comes in the form of medication and/or therapy, and they can give you additional suggestions on how to coach her and help her manage her anger. Good luck with it, and if you have more questions in the future for me, feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.